I need just a little more covering from the Lord today, because this is like a super big event for me. And so I just need a little more covering with prayer, Ernez. So for the purposes of live stream, because you know how mommy is, I need to capture this because people on the live stream need prayer as well. So if you could just give us just a little bit more prayer, I'd throw in an extra $5 on your invoice.
Lord, thank you for us knocking down obstacles in our lives, Lord, like smashing through them like they're not even there. Lord, thank you for always being on our shoulder, Lord, helping us, Lord, each and every day of our life. Lord, you're always here for us, showing up and showing out. And even if it doesn't look like it's possible in the natural, but we know you are supernatural.
Amen.
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 That's a $10 prayer.
I think so.
Definitely, that was great, right? A supernatural God, amen. I'm excited about that. And I just want to say I apologize, for not being organized a second ago, but I want to introduce myself. I am Regina Christine. I will be your host for this event. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity, Miss Regina, to allow me to be here to speak in front of all these lovely people. So I'm super excited, you guys. So we're going to have, our next speaker is going to be Mrs. Deborah D. Jones. And I had an opportunity to call her and talk with her yesterday to kind of get a feel of her. I know that she is definitely a devoted wife and mother. And I just wanted to say congratulations on allowing God to use you as He has, and just to continue to just walk in His purpose. And I know that you are an author, so I want to congratulate you on that big leap. And I do want to take the time to allow you to come to the podium to speak at this time. All right. All right, can I just talk about you? Let me guess.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
That's your way.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. I'm really excited to be here. Regina, I'm not going to start it yet, but I will say this. When Regina allowed me to be part of this event, I was excited. I was very excited because I know the character of who she is, and I understand how important it is to share what we've been through that can help someone else. All right? So, that being said, and man, I was inspired, let me just say that, with you training him up in the way that he should go, and you being wise enough to use what motivates him to get him to go further than what he thought he could go. And so I saw that happen real live today. So thank you again. We are here at the Leap, Don't Look Tour 2017. And we are not just anywhere. Guess where we are? We're at the Pelican Hill Resort. I don't know about you, but that means a lot to me. I've been a number of places. I flew in last night. I came in, I leaped over here over 1,825 miles. All right, I leaped. I came in via Southwest Airlines from St. Louis, Missouri. Well, here's the deal. I don't live in St. Louis, Missouri, but I work in St. Louis, Missouri. I live in Houston, Texas. I live in Houston, Texas now. But I'm not from Houston, Texas. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. So, with that being said, guess what? I've been leaping all my life. All my life. And so what I have realized is that there's purpose for our lives, and the way that each of us get there may be a little bit different. It may be a little bit different, but I'm going to share with you from my perspective what leaping means. Now, she did share with you, and you see in your program, a little bit about me. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me so you can understand that I'm leaping, y'all. You hear me? I'm still leaping. I am the youngest of 8 children from Chicago, Illinois. I'm from the real West Side, okay? When I tell you that we did not have much, but I didn't realize we didn't have much, because what we had, what we lacked financially, what we lacked materially, we had in a big way in terms of love, in terms of encouragement, in terms of just knowing who we are. Do you know, it took me years to realize that where I was not where people thought I should be. Now, let me back up just a little bit. Now, I grew up at 1247 South Christiana, Chicago, Illinois, 60623. That very place, when I went and visited there last year, and at that time there were 12 apartments. We lived in what's called a courtway building. There were 12 apartments there, 12 families, sometimes, you know, more than one family in one apartment. We had 2 bedrooms, which means if you got 8 children, everybody don't have a bedroom, right? So my brothers, 4 brothers, and then 3 sisters. My brother's bedroom was actually, it was a dining room, I think. But we made use of what we had. And because of the encouragement and because of what my mother said to us, we really did see ourselves differently. So I'm bringing that up because Regina really speaks a lot to what you're doing with Ernez in terms of showing him who he is and motivating him by who you are and doing what you do. So with that backstory, let me tell you, when I say this place, although when I walked in here, I was in awe, I've seen this place all my life in my mind. I didn't realize that a place that had 12 people, 12 families living here was only this big. When I went back to Chicago last year and looked at that space, guess what? They torn down those buildings and there's a single family dwelling in that space. I was like, how did we all fit in there? But our minds were bigger than that, all right? Much bigger than that. And so if I had some theme music, it would be started at the bottom, now I'm here. All right? So we've leaped to this place. For my career, I am a consultant and I am a corporate trainer. So I train people to do software, basically. And God opened up that avenue for me. I leaped at the age of 50 from my stable job with benefits to do this type of work. You know why? Because I knew that I was more than that. There was nothing wrong with it. It provided for my family. It provided stability. It provided benefits. It provided a 401k. But guess what? I realized I could buy my own 401k. Did you know that? You can do that if your money is right. So when I leaped from that place to the next place, and one day my income changed. It changed by 250% just by stepping out. But what happens with entrepreneurs, when you're an employee, it means you work for someone else and you bring in revenue for them and they give you a piece of it. But when you're an entrepreneur, it means that the money comes to you, but you also take the risk. So if you're going to leap, you got to be ready to be risky, okay? Let me share some stuff with you here. I do have a couple of notes. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about when it comes to leaping is the approach. How do you approach leaping? First of all, you need to count up the cost. What is it that you want to do? What does it take to get to where you need to get? How far away is it from where you are right now? That doesn't mean that you shouldn't dream big, because you should dream huge. If you can accomplish it, you don't need to leap. You can walk into that. So consider what it is that you need to do. Is it a career change? Is it that you need to go back to school? Is it that you truly are an entrepreneur? Because the truth is, some people are not willing to take the risk. But the risk is the thing that's going to be the reward. If you take the risk, then you will get a reward, right? Y'all agree with me? Yes. All right. So now, I've heard this a lot when people say, when you're considering what you should do in the approach, whatever you do for business, it should be something that you love. It should be something that you would do if nobody paid you. That may be your story. It's not mine. It should be something that pays. It should be something that pays. I'm telling you, with a business, let's do business. Because the truth is, I like upholstery. I'm not going to do that because guess what I found out? I count up the cost. It takes a lot of work. And I realized that I cannot do that much work and make the kind of money that I know I need. And the money is not just for me, because we have to have money to be a blessing to other people. All right? So count up the cost. And if it's your situation that you want to do what you've always loved, go ahead and do that. And it may be profitable. I'm just saying that my love was not necessarily going to be profitable for me. The other thing is, in terms of that, I say do what you do well. Now, when I made that career jump, it actually ended up being what I do well. I didn't realize it was going to be something that I did well. It was what I did anyway. It was what was natural to me. It was something that was what we call the lowest hanging fruit. It was the easiest thing to be able to do because I did it anyway. It's like second nature, all right? So that is in terms of the approach. All right, the other thing is, when you are making these plans, make sure that they are measurable. If you say, I want to make $100,000 in the first 6 months, if you don't keep up with your money, how do you know that you made 100? How do you know? So we're talking about business, and entrepreneurship is business. Don't get it twisted, it is business. The second thing, and we were talking about the approach. The approach is how you're getting ready to leap by making plans. The second part of it is what I'm going to call the flight. Because if you're leaping, you're not walking, you're leaping. I wish I could leap. I promise you, I wish I could. I started trying to practice and seeing if I could just leap and there wouldn't be a problem. If you're leaping, it means that you want to cover a great distance. It means you don't want to just, kind of go little by little. And the truth is, many of us have already taken a great number of steps to get to the next place so that we can leap. And that's what I realized by staying at the same employer for 25 years. What I did is I learned how to do what I ended up doing. And I was doing it just in my everyday life. And I would go out to say that some of you have done the same thing. You've been doing what you do many years. And the problem is you haven't seen the value in what it is that you do. I did it just because it was easy for me to do, just because I did it every day. But at some point, you realize there's more. There's more. I want to be able to leave an inheritance for my children's children. I want to be able to encourage my brother or my sister. I want to be able to help my neighbor. I want to be able to help someone on the other side of the world. But I need resources. And let's be honest, resources, your income serves as a resource to be able to be a help to anyone else. So when we talk about the flight, I thought the greatest analogy in terms of flight was the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. I said the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. Don't debate me on this. He truly is the greatest of all time. And one of the things that we know about him, Air Jordan, is that he has a long hang time, doesn't he? Honestly, you know how long his hang time is? It is 0.93 seconds. It's not even a whole minute. It's not even a whole minute. But if you see him, it's a work of art. When he approaches that line and takes off, and he got his form is just right, isn't it? His is that short, but do you know the average person's hang time is 0.53 seconds? So here's the deal. If you want to do well and have a great hang time, you need to be better than the next person. You really do. And whatever it is that you're doing. You need to be the best speaker. You need to be the best hairdresser. You need to be the best cuisine cupcake baker. You need to be that. You need to be the best trainer. You need to be the best whatever it is. And so the thing is, when you start talking about being the best, a lot of times people want to be competitive. The competition really needs to be with yourself. Compete with yourself. Be better than you were yesterday. Be better than you were the day before. Be better than you were last week. Just keep competing with yourself, not with the next person. And if you become a better you will knock the competition out, okay? It's not for us to try to tear down anybody else, but just to be the best that we can be, all right?